Hi, my name is Adnan Hasbi and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Rambling of an Analyst. In today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about ASB, and with its interest as low as 5.5%, whether it makes more sense for us to use our own money to invest in ASB, whether it makes more sense for us to borrow to buy ASB, finally, whether it makes more sense for us to invest in another asset class. So to give context to this overall episode, back in the day, when I was still studying in university, there was this very popular book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And the author actually wrote many books. And in one of his books, he actually introduced this concept of other people's time and also other people's money. And this is one of the ways to build wealth. So with regards to other people's time, this is when we leverage off someone else to do the work for us. And amongst the collective wisdom, which is in my circle, a lot of people tend to think that amongst the quickest way of making wealth is having our own business. And another way other people can create wealth is via OPM, other people's money. So for instance, there is this particular investment that costs 100 ringgit and the return is about 10%. So if we were to invest in that particular investment, we will take the 100 ringgit divided against the return and we get an ROI or return of investment of 10%. In the next example, assuming if we use 10 ringgit of our own money and we borrow from maybe mom and dad, the rest of the 90 ringgit. Given that this is a loan from mom and dad, chances are they probably won't collect any interest from us, right? So we only use 10 ringgit of our own money. And if the returns is about 10 ringgit, the ROIs would be 100%. So over here, we just take the amount invested divided by the returns and we get 100%. So this is a concept of other people's money. Now, during the 2000s, ASB was a very popular asset class. I think what a lot of robo-advisory is right now was ASB back then. A lot of people tend to invest their money in ASB. And at that point in time, the interest rates were about maybe 4 or 5%. So assuming at this particular year, where the returns is about 9%, and if the interest is about 5%, we will get a difference or a spread of about 4% using other people's money, which makes a lot of sense. But having said that, today, ASB is paying 5.5%. So let us now dive in this subject even deeper. Firstly, what's the difference between ASB and ASB financing? And which one is better? So ASB in a nutshell is we using our own money to invest in ASB units, right? So we using our own money to invest in ASB units. So that is just the normal ASB investing. Whereas with regards to ASB financing, this is where we go to a bank and borrow money from the bank. And that money that we borrow from the bank is put in the ASB units. And every month, the money will go to the bank so as to pay the interest. So the difference is how the money flows. So with regards to ASB, the money will flow from us to maybe PNB. And ASB financing, the money will flow from us to the bank. So if we use ASB without borrowing any money from the bank, assuming if the amount that we invest is 199 ringgit every month, and we do it for 40 years. So for the next 40 years, every month we put as much as 199 ringgit, right? Assuming if the ASB dividends is about 5.5, so we put this in the calculator. So over here, the payments, this is our monthly increment. This is the annual rate of return. The number of periods is 40 times by 12, right? And this is our future returns, right? It shows 346,000 ringgit. Right now, assuming if we take a loan and the monthly payments we are willing to make for that particular loan is 199, right? How much are we able to get? So over here, it's about 50,000 ringgit, okay? So these are the assumption. It will be a 40-year loan. The interest rate will be 3.65. As of this recording, which is December 2020, the banks are giving loans, ASB loans of between 3.6 to 3.75. So over here, I use 3.65 as a middle point. The loan that we are able to get is about 50,000 ringgit, right? So this is ASB financing. And like I said, the 199 we paid to the bank and we borrow 50,000 from the bank to put it in PNB to get the ASB units. So over here, how much would one get? Is about 446,000. The difference is about 100,000. So I guess the very basic lesson over here is that if one were to invest, I'm sure this is a very universal advice. Start early, start young. In fact, start yesterday if you want to invest. The second thing that we can learn over here is when we use leverage or other people's money, that will help increase our returns. And in this example, if we take ASB financing, we will get 100,000 more compared to using our own money. And the third point which I want to make is if we look at ASB, we buy and sell ASB at 1 ringgit. So even though the market goes up or goes down, ASB has always been at 1 ringgit. So in terms of the risk versus rewards, we could see that during this time when the markets swung up and swung down and swung up and swung down, we should ask ourselves if we were willing to take the risk for the amount of returns that we are getting. For ASB, there are not so much of risk, but the returns is always there. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this particular episode and I hope to see you in the next episode.